Hey, it's me, Emile Nate, and welcome to the Daily Zap. Today is January 19, 2022. It is a big day for me and a big day for every one of us. Of course, the Daily Zap is a show in which I talk about everything and anything in the world of sports. Maybe it's basketball, it's football, it's wrestling. This is just a short 10 to 15 minute talk. And today, we are going to talk about this news that came out last yesterday, and it reads the PBA are holding a special board meeting to determine the outlook of the current PBA conference. So the news said, and this is from PBA.ph, the PBA is set to hold a board meeting next week to decide the fate of the season-ending Governor's Cup following the indefinite suspension of its games due to the current surge of COVID-19 cases. Commissioner Willie Marshall had a talk with Chairman Ricky Vargas regarding the crucial meeting of minds among members of the Board of Governors to talk about plans of whether to push through with the stalled season or not. Marshall bared the timeline of the league moving forward when he appeared as a special guest in the virtual session of the Philippine Sports Writers Association Forum on Tuesday. Marshall said that they would call a board meeting next week to talk about the steps that the league would take. If they would meet next week, there's a fair chance that in that meeting it will be determined what the PBA will do next. They will know if the season would continue or not. What will they do to the players and the imports? They will have all the answers by next week. The spike in COVID-19 cases after the holiday season forced the league to shut down the import-laden conference indefinitely. An obvious setback for the league that just a few weeks ago welcomed back its beloved fans inside the smart Araneta Coliseum. But a ray of hope shone on the league a few days ago when the Games and Amusements Board, through Chairman Beham Mitra, endorsed before the IATF the resumption of the PBA Games behind what Marshall referred as a Type C bubble, or the home setup, which was similar to the arrangement done by the PBA during the early parts of the Philippine Cup last year. Currently, NCR and nearby provinces are under Alert Level 3, where professional leagues are still allowed to play, but under a full bubble. At the same time, the commissioner is not discounting the possibility of holding games in a bubble outside of Metro Manila, like it did the past two editions of the Philippine Cup, where it held in Clark and Bacolor, Pampanga, respectively. For the meantime, it's still standard operating procedure for all the teams, which remain prohibited from doing scrimmages and are only limited in practicing under a small cluster composed of 7 persons, namely 4 players, coach, safety officer, and utility. Hopefully, once the league gets the go signal to resume playing, team scrimmages will immediately follow with the consent of the LGU, where practice facilities of the respective ball clubs are located. So that is the article that came out yesterday. That they are holding a board meeting next week to determine whether or not they will still continue the ongoing PBA Governors Cup. Again, it's been a tough couple of years for the PBA. Like the last season, we only had a Philippine Cup, and this year, the season started in March, but the entire Philippine Cup lasted for how many months that was? 5 months, and then there was a stoppage in between because of the Delta variant spiking, and then they continued the games in Bacolor, Pampanga, and they were able to finish off the Philippine Cup. And this year they started again in Inares, and then at the middle of December, because of the situation being better in Manila because of the COVID-19 situation, they were able to finally go back to Smart Araneta Coliseum and able to hold games with limited capacity of fans inside. But because of this Omicron variant, everything went to shit, and the PBA has postponed its games again just this month, and they haven't played a game ever since. So this is an obvious blow to the PBA. I mean, there's a lot of money riding on whether or not the season will continue or not, because these players, man, these players are getting paid how many thousands of pesos just to play, and the salary isn't going to be justified if there's not going to be, if there's not going to be any play. Like a lot of owners are going to lose money. I am sure they do not want the season to end because there's an investment to it. Like, they have paid their imports, they have paid their players. So I think the PBA will push through with this, and I think we're at a point in which the PBA can play games in Metro Manila. They have already done it. They have already started doing it once again, playing games in Araneta with limited capacity of fans. I think they can do that without risking a super spreader event. Because in America, when they started to allow fans back again, there isn't really much reported spike in cases in these events. So I think they can do that. I think the only reason why the PBA doesn't want to do that is because they do not want any accountability. They do not want any liability in case something bad happens to a player or to someone because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But at this point, man, other countries are already back to playing games in front of full fans, and they have worse situation than us in terms of number of people getting COVID and shit. So I think at this point, PBA does need to face the reality that this COVID thing ain't gonna end anytime soon. Like, they simply cannot wait until the cases go down, and then we'll play games. And then if the cases go up again, we'll stop playing again. I think they do need a permanent contingency plan. So if cases go up, we're not gonna we're not gonna let fans in. If the cases go down, then we'll maybe let fans in back again. So, but the PBA, they are always adherent to the IATF because, again, based on the regulations, alert level 3 means you can't play basketball. Contact sports is not allowed. It's different here compared in America because it's much more strict here for some reason. So yeah, it just sucks. And if they're gonna wait it out till the cases drop, it's gonna take a PBA a long time to restart again. And so I think at this point, the PBA just needs to say, we're going through the plan of the Type C bubble, the same setup that they did at the start of the Philippine Cup this year. Maybe they'll just do that. Maybe they just do that because they can't afford to lose any more money. They have lost a lot of money already because of this pandemic. So yeah, it just sucks for the PBA. It sucks for all of us who are basketball fans. Like, you see these other countries like the NBA, the EuroLeague, the NBL, CBA, the B League, already going back to what they were pre-pandemic, with crowds and with consistent basketball all year long. The PBA is playing catch up, and it sucks to see that because the PBA is the premier league in the Philippines, and they should be able to adapt well. But right now, I think the only thing the PBA really wants to do is have a bubble, or we're gonna stop playing, and there's no in between. Like, there's no compromise to it. But I just hope we get some basketball back anytime, like soon. Maybe it's going to be in a bubble, to mitigate the spread of possible, like COVID-19 infections inside of the bubble. So yeah, let's just hope for the best, I guess. So that is it for this daily zap. Again, follow me on all my social media accounts on Facebook, That's Emile Meister on YouTube. Give this a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also on Twitch, I am on Twitch at Emile_Meister. And also, I am on Twitter at Emile_Meister as well. So, this is it for the Daily Zap. Today, again, is January 19, 2022. This has been Emile Nate. And like I always say, always stay safe. And I will see you on the next Daily Zap.